Right. Hey guys, me Anthony back again with the video. Another reaction video. This time I'm watching a video of the BMW E46 M3 GTR. One of the best BMWs ever made. Yeah. I like this thing, it's fun. Also, if you don't know what it is, people who played Need for Speed Most Wanted back then will know what it is. That's what made it famous, so yeah. Anyways, here we go. Link to the original description. You know the drill.
Tremendously fast car. Did it right after the pit stop.
Throughout history, victory has always been one of the greatest achievements for people. In motorsports racing, winning is everything. Ford's triumph at the 1966 Le Mans race was the most important victory for an American team on foreign soil. Decades later, BMW created a similar story of innovation. By pushing boundaries and bending the rules, they brought their car into the spotlight. This is how the M3 GTR became a legendary champion for years. In 1998, an American businessman named Don Panaz teamed up with the organizers of the Le Mans race in France to create a new racing series. This was called the American Le Mans Series. The idea was to bring the thrill of endurance racing to the United States, similar to the famous 24 Hours of Le Mans, but on American soil. Alms started its first season in 1999, with 8 races, kicking off with the 12 Hours of Sebring. This race was held at an old World War II airfield, and the track had already been around since the 1950s. Over time, the series grew, adding more races and even crossing the ocean to hold events in Australia and Europe. By the year 2000, the championship had expanded to 12 races, with some taking place on famous road courses like Laguna Seca and Road Atlanta, while others were held on temporary street circuits in city centers. Much like the Le Mans 24 Hours, Alms attracted top car manufacturers and professional racing teams to compete in its most prestigious classes. Big names like Porsche, Audi, BMW, and Chevrolet brought their best cars to race. Some of the top racing teams like Yost and Lola also took part and enjoyed success. Among its competitive categories was GT2, a class designed for modified versions of street-legal sports cars. At the time, Porsche was the undisputed ruler of the GT2 category. Their 911 GT3 R.
Sorry. Hang on. It's lagging. We can't have that, can we?
RSR had earned a reputation for being virtually unbeatable. Porsche's design focused on balance, efficiency, and reliability, with a rear-mounted flat-six engine instead of just aiming for raw power. The 911 GT3 RSR showed its strength in tough endurance races, consistently outlasting and outrunning its competitors. Its competitors. Over at BMW, their E46 M3, powered by a naturally aspirated straight-six engine, had seen success in various competitions. However, it lacked the raw firepower to mount a serious challenge in GT endurance racing. BMW's motorsport division was not content with playing second fiddle. They recognized an opportunity in Alms to disrupt the 911 GT3 RSR stronghold. To dethrone the 911 GT3 RSR, BMW Motorsport made a radical departure from the E46 M3's existing formula. Incremental improvements wouldn't suffice. They needed a car that pushed the boundaries of innovation and exploited every allowable regulation. The result was the creation of the M3 GTR. The heart of the M3 GTR lay in its revolutionary 4.0-liter V8 engine. The new V8 was a bespoke unit designed specifically for competition. This power plant delivered a significant boost in horsepower and torque, giving the M3 GTR an edge over its rivals, especially Porsche's flat-six engine. The engine swap necessitated other significant changes to the car's structure. The M3 GTR's chassis was modified to accommodate the larger and more powerful engine. BMW also took advantage of advanced materials, incorporating lightweight carbon fiber throughout the car's construction. The hood, roof, and body panels were made from carbon fiber reinforced plastic. This reduced the car's weight and improved its handling. The car had a widened stance, flared fenders, and an imposing rear wing, all aimed at increasing stability and downforce at high speeds. However, creating a race car was only part of the equation. To comply with Alms regulations, BMW had to produce a road-legal version of the car. This led to the development of the M3 GTR Strassen version, a highly exclusive run of just 10 units. These cars, while toned down compared to the race version, still feature the V8 engine and many of the same lightweight components. With a price tag and rarity that made them inaccessible to most, the Strassen version was less a production car and more a token effort to meet homologation requirements. When the BMW M3 GTR made its competitive debut in the 2001 American Le Mans series, it was clear from the outset that this car was not just another GT2 contender. BMW had built a machine designed to obliterate the competition. In its first Alms season, the M3 GTR, fielded by BMW team PTG, secured 7 wins in 10 races. The car's ability to sustain blistering lap times over endurance distances made it almost untouchable. Drivers such as Jörg Müller and Hans-Joachim Stock raced the GTR, exploiting its superior speed and handling to dominate race after race. Müller in particular went on to claim the GT2 Drivers' Championship that season. However, this dominance didn't sit well with everyone. In motorsport, winning too convincingly often invites scrutiny, and the M3 GTR was no exception. While BMW celebrated its victories, rival teams and regulatory bodies began questioning how such a revolutionary car had been allowed to compete within the rules. This brewing controversy would soon overshadow the GTR's on-track success. The controversy around the M3 GTR arose from its use of homologation rules. These rules were meant to ensure race cars were based on production vehicles available to the public. This was done to keep the competition fair. Manufacturers had to create a certain number of road-legal versions of their race cars. For the Alms GT2 category, this ensured a link between track cars and showroom models. BMW met the requirement by producing 10 road-legal M3 GTRs. However, the spirit of the rules was a different story. The M3 GTR Strassen version was essentially a detuned race car. It was not a true production model. While it met the technical regulations, it was extremely expensive and made in very small numbers. Critics argued this was a way for BMW to bend the rules without breaking them. The biggest issue was the V8 engine. Standard E46 M3s had inline-6 engines, but the GTR's V8 was custom built for racing. This engine wasn't used in any other production BMW. It went against the idea of basing race cars on existing road models. Porsche, whose 911 GT3 RSR followed the spirit of the rules more closely, was especially critical. They accused BMW of gaining an unfair advantage and argued the M3 GTR was more like a prototype than a GT2 car. The Automobile Club de l'Ouest, ACO, which governed the series, began looking into BMW's compliance. While BMW technically met the rules, there was growing dissatisfaction among competitors. The ACO also wanted to maintain the integrity of the GT2 category. In response, stricter regulations were introduced for the 2002 season. These changes aimed to close the loopholes BMW had used. Manufacturers now had to produce at least 100 road-legal versions of their race cars. The engines used in race cars also had to come from production models. This effectively banned custom-built engines like the GTR's V8. These new rules were a major setback for BMW's M3 GTR program. Producing 100 road-legal versions of such a costly and specialized car was not feasible. The original Strassen version was built only to meet the bare minimum requirements. It was never intended for broader production. Faced with the new regulations, BMW had no choice but to withdraw the M3 GTR from Alms after the 2001 season. For Porsche, BMW's withdrawal was both a relief and a reckoning. The M3 GTR had been an existential threat to Porsche's dominance in the GT2 category, forcing the brand to confront its vulnerabilities. With BMW out of the picture, Porsche regained its supremacy, but not without a deeper appreciation for the importance of staying ahead in innovation. The rivalry with BMW pushed Porsche to re-examine its own racing philosophy. While the 911 GT3 RSR remained competitive, the arrival of the M3 GTR showed how quickly a dominant car could be eclipsed by new technology. Porsche responded by doubling down on research and development, ensuring that its future GT cars would remain at the cutting edge. This approach bore fruit in subsequent years, as Porsche continued to excel not only in Alms, but also in global endurance events like the 24 Hours of Le Mans. For BMW, the M3 GTR story became a cornerstone of its motorsport legacy. Although its racing career was short-lived, the car's achievements cemented its status as a legend. BMW fans and enthusiasts continue to celebrate the M3 GTR as a symbol of what the brand could achieve when unshackled by convention. The car's aggressive styling, advanced engineering, and storied rivalry with Porsche have made it a cult icon, with road-going versions fetching astronomical prices among collectors. The 2001 BMW M3 GTR's legacy as a cultural icon owes much to its role in video games, particularly in Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005. For many, this game was their first introduction to the car. It was the protagonist's starting car, and the ultimate prize, creating an emotional attachment for players. In Need for Speed Most Wanted, the M3 GTR was depicted in its iconic silver and blue livery, equipped with a roaring V8 engine that set it apart from other cars in the game. Its dominance in the virtual racing scene paralleled its real-world performance, reinforcing the car's mythical status. Beyond Most Wanted, the M3 GTR continued to appear in other titles within the Need for Speed franchise, including Carbon, Need for Speed 2015, and Payback. However, subsequent versions of the car in these games often lacked the defining characteristics of the original. For example, in later games, the car was powered by the inline-6 S54 engine instead of the P60 V8, and the sound design failed to replicate the raw, visceral experience of the real-life GTR. While these versions still paid homage to the car, they couldn't quite capture the magic of the original. The M3 GTR's inclusion in these games not only solidified its status in automotive culture, but also made it accessible to a global audience who might never have encountered the car otherwise. For many, owning or even seeing an actual M3 GTR is an impossible dream due to its extreme rarity. Only 6 road-legal versions were ever built. Video games therefore served as a bridge, allowing enthusiasts to experience the thrill of driving the car, even if virtually. The M3 GTR's legacy inspired future BMW race cars. Lessons learned from its development and competition informed the design of subsequent M models, many of which carried forward the spirit of innovation and performance that the GTR embodied. While the car itself may no longer roar down the track, its influence can still be seen in the DNA of BMW's modern performance lineup. At the very least, the M3 GTR is recorded in history as one of the fastest cars of its time, unlike the Bugatti EB110, which was a huge failure despite its sheer speed. Hit the video on your screen to know what went wrong.
Alright, well, that was interesting. Hang on. Sorry.
Tremendously fast car. Tour.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the tale of the M3 GTR. If only they built more of them, would have lasted. Oh well. Yeah, it's a nice car though. Anyways, yeah. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe. That guitar is fucking sick though. Yeah. See you next time. Bye.